Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. My name is Caryn Korman, and I have the privilege of being the Executive Director of the UIC Alumni Association. Welcome to the UIC Alumni Exchange Series. We host weekly events that bring you news, knowledge, and entertainment to help you explore, connect, and even escape from the everyday with a community of UIC alumni, faculty, and staff experts. You'll hear me say this just a few times today, but I encourage you to visit go.uic.edu/alumni exchange for the latest and greatest programming. And with that, I'm excited to start our program this afternoon by welcoming two very special guests. First is Ray Clay. Ray played football at UICC in the early 1970s, but is probably best known as the announcer at UIC men's basketball games, which he has been doing since 1980. Ray is a member of the UIC Athletics Hall of Fame and was also the PA announcer for the Chicago Bulls from 1990 to 2002, a span that included 6 NBA championships at the Chicago Stadium and the United Center. And joining Ray is our new head coach for UIC men's basketball team, Luke Yaklich. Coach Yak is a native of Illinois and brings 21 years of experience to Chicago. He has helped lead 3 collegiate programs, Texas, Michigan, and Illinois State, to national postseason success over the past 7 years. Thank you both for being with us here today, and I'll turn it over to Ray to begin the conversation.
Thanks, Caryn. Glad to have everybody here. It's an honor to be here with Coach Yaklich. I should probably give him a Luke Yaklich.
Well done, Ray. Well done. Ray, I remember listening to that on TV. That same voice actually in this same house at my mother and father-in-law's to all those NBA championships, because you had a lot of Bulls fans down here.
Glad to do it. We're excited that you're on board with us. And on behalf of the alumni, which I'm part of, we'd like to welcome you to UIC, to our family. Maybe to start things off, we'll just lobby a little softball pitch here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your family and what you're bringing to the table?
Thanks, Ray. It's an honor to be here to all faculty, staff, the alumni, and all UIC fans. It's an honor to have been named the head coach here. I'm so excited and so passionate about this university and what it has to offer student athletes throughout the country and throughout the world, for that matter. And then to be able to work with, again, the student athletes that we have in the program right now, as well as our administration and the other head coaches in our program. I'm thrilled, blessed, and fortunate and honored to be in this position. And along with this position, we are kind of Team Yaklich, Ray. My wife Amy and oldest daughter Olivia, our middle child Griffin, our only son, and then our youngest daughter Taylor will be kind of joining, getting back to Illinois. They're wrapping up everything in Texas and doing the actual work of packing up the house and getting ready for the movers to come in. And they're enjoying the last kind of days of life by the pool in Austin and enjoying the weather. But the weather appears great now, but there will be a times we'll miss the 80-degree weather in the middle of December, leaving a basketball game. But I can't tell you how excited we are to be in Chicago and in Illinois. This is where we call home. Ray, my wife and I grew up in LaSalle, Peru. We graduated LaSalle, Peru High School, and then we've started our family here in LaSalle, Peru. Then we went to Sterling High School, lived there for a while, then came back to LaSalle, Peru, then lived in Joliet, then in Bloomington Normal. And then for the first time ever, we moved out of the state to Ann Arbor, and then to Austin, and now back to Chicago, where I'm excited to be. It's a great honor, and the whole family is really, really, really excited about the opportunity ahead and getting back to the great state of Illinois.
Well, it seems like you've been kind of a globetrotter, and we're just hoping that we can get you to have your roots set in the Illinois, Chicago area for
Absolutely.
a while.
That's the plan, and then to cut some nets down in the process, Ray.
There we go. We'd love it. You've been around the game of basketball, for quite a long time, and you've been involved in many different aspects of the game. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what first intrigued you about basketball and how you really got started?
Well, that's a great question, Ray, and it's one that I'm really passionate about because I've like many people, I'm sure listening, and you always have had, I think for me, and you have that one teacher, that one coach in your life that at some point you can look back on right now and you can picture a certain situation in a classroom, or you can picture a certain lesson or just some conversation that you had. And I start with that because this whole journey of teaching and coaching for me, Ray, it started at Dimmick Grade School, which is a small rural junior high school, junior high school in LaSalle, Illinois. And, you don't know it at the time, but, what your experiences and how they're helping shape you. And I just had an unbelievable experience there that really kind of just, it created this love of teaching and learning, even as a young student, a junior high student. That I had a teacher, James Beal, who was one of my U.S. history teachers in seventh grade, and I kind of just fell in love with like that subject and social studies, and I had a bunch of other great teachers there. Then I went to LaSalle High School, and I had the opportunity to just be around some really, really good teachers there as well, and coaches. My sophomore coach, Paul Kramarczyk, and one of my mentors to this day, Gary Sonnenberg, and then Chips Giovanni, who's a Hall of Fame high school coach who has since has recently passed away. They just had just such a formative role in my life that by the time I was a sophomore in high school, Ray, I knew exactly I wanted to go into teaching and I wanted to go into coaching. I was trying to navigate and try to figure that process out, but it was just being around really good teachers and mentors throughout my career that I continued just to have this passion for teaching and learning. And I haven't worked a day in my life, Ray. I get to teach and coach, and for me, it's an honor and to be able to do that each and every day. And I think the main thing that I have, Ray, for teaching and kind of a philosophy of my own is that, you try to be the teacher that you want your son or daughter to have. And you want to have a coach. And that's kind of how we're trying to set up our program is, every day that I walked into that U.S. history class, it was kind of my mindset, like if my son or daughter was in this classroom, what kind of lesson am I bringing to the table today? And what kind of energy and passion are we bringing to that? And I think going back to what I opened with, Ray, is that each person here has had that teacher, and I challenge our staff each and every day to kind of and remind them you want to be that teacher or coach that helped shape you. And for each of our student athletes, that's kind of the goal. So that's kind of a big overall kind of theme and philosophical theme, Ray, for how I got into the teaching part. But the basketball is kind of, the court is a classroom for me. And I take that, the teaching and learning approach really seriously with our guys, because I know the impact that it had on me. And I hope that we can have that same impact on student athletes each day at UIC.
I feel a little parallel between you and myself in that once you get into college, a lot of times you really don't know what you want to do. But there's just something that happens when you get there. When I got to UIC, I was on the football team and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I got involved in campus recreation. You started at Illinois State and you were able to hook up with the men's basketball program. How did that help you out?
Well, that was, it just opened my eyes up, Ray, right away. I was coaching junior high basketball. My first job, Ray, was a 4th and 5th grade junior high coach. And we got a 10-minute scrimmage in between the 7th and 8th grade game. And that was that was everything to me. Those 10 minutes, you prepared for them like you were playing the national championship game. And so once I knew I wanted to do that, my sophomore coach kind of said, when you go to Illinois State, you need to go into the men's basketball office and you need to interview and you need to ask about being a manager. So I did that, and I went into Tom Richardson's office, who was a longtime coach in Illinois, eventually was the head coach at Illinois State, but Tom's still a really good friend of mine to this day. And, I went in there, and it was ironically, Ray, is the same office that I ended up having as an assistant coach at Illinois State. Was the office I walked into to be a manager. And Coach Stallings was there at the time. So I just was kind of soaking everything up. And then Jeff Wilburn, who was at Stanford right now as an assistant, he was an assistant coach. King Rice was an assistant who played at Carolina, and then now is the coach at Monmouth. It was like, just you had this great experience and you didn't even know it at the time. And that was kind of really formative for me, spending 2 years. We went to 2 NCAA tournaments in my time there. And I just got to learn. And then at that point, it kind of solidified everything for me, Ray, when I said, you know what, I'm definitely going to go into this coaching thing. And then I just went back to LaSalle, Peru. My first high school job was a sophomore girls basketball coach, and kind of just grew everything from there, and kept teaching and learning each and every day. So that was that Illinois State experience, helped prepare me for being a teacher, and then prepared me really to kind of be ready to be a coach, even though you don't have all the answers. But I at least knew at that time that experience at Illinois State was like, wow, there's a lot more to basketball than I ever thought about knowing, being part of a program there for 2 years.
Yeah, having that experience going out to the real world really opens your eyes to what you want to do. You had the opportunity and you went back to Illinois State and you worked with Dan Muller on his staff. Why don't you talk a little bit about the time when you were on that staff?
Yeah, you talk about opening your eyes up again. As a high school coach for 15 years, I left Joliet. I really enjoyed what I did. I was mentoring teachers, first, second, and third year teachers during that time. And I was, one of my co-teachers and I we designed a course together, an American Studies course. So then I was the head coach. So I had everything. I was really, really passionate about that job. And Joliet was an unbelievable place to work. So it was like, okay, I got to leave. And it's totally out of my comfort zone because I'm not going to be a head coach anymore. I have no clue how a Division I basketball program really works. I had no clue recruiting. So when I walked in that door, Ray, and I took that job, the first 2 months, Dan and I laugh about this all the time. Like he put me in charge of community service, academics, camp. I had recruiting, scouting, obviously, and then, just scheduling. So it's like, I've said it all the time, was drinking from a fire hose and trying to soak up all this stuff. And I mean, I had no clue, Ray, at the time. And then I just kept learning and growing and challenging myself each and every day to kind of get more accustomed to what I was doing. And, after about the first 6 months, I really had a strong foothold in it, and then was able to kind of life slow down a little bit and was able to really make some inroads and try to kind of plan out this college career course that I kind of wanted to shape for myself at the time. Once I understood, like, yeah, this is something I really want to do. And Illinois State under Coach Muller taught me. He's still a great mentor of mine. We talk once a week, if not more. And we really just share, stories about the past and some laughs along the way. But more of just, he really helped develop my college mindset about what it meant to run a program, how you have to think about a lot of different things, a lot of different ways, and then be able to be a great communicator with your staff and with your players. So there's so many lessons from Dan, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity, Ray, because in reality, it's amazing that I took it still was there, Ray, because I originally turned it down. And then 10 days later, I kind of realized my athletic director, Joliet, kind of said, like, are you sure you want to turn this down? And to Chris Olson, who's still there today as an administrator, he kind of pushed me to say, you need to call Dan back and kind of figure this thing out and see if it's still available. It was, and thankfully so. And then the rest is history, so to speak.
You have to sometimes sort of look at it through other people's eyes to really realize what you've got there.
Yes. Yes.
Moving on from Illinois State, you moved on to a Michigan program, which I'm sure ramped everything up a little bit. And from there, you moved on to a Texas program. Talk a little bit about some of the takeaways that you've had from each of the steps on your journey to becoming a head coach.
Yeah, the last 3 years there at Illinois State that was huge. And then it was that process of, I knew I wanted at that point, really wanted to be a college head coach after probably that second year at Illinois State. And, in my post season evaluation with Dan, we sat down and I said, I really like to be a head coach, and talked about D2, D3. And he said, well, you need to stay with this. And then the Michigan had 2 openings, and kind of that whole process transpired, and Coach Beeline offered me the job. And once I got there, there's so many things I took away, and I've talked about it several times, Ray. I created this kind of like Beeline Bible, and every day, Coach B is like the ultimate teacher and coach. I mean, he had been doing it for 42 years, so every day was a clinic for me, and I just kept growing. I told my wife, I said to Amy, I said, every day I'm gonna keep a note. So Microsoft Word document open, and then kind of just each night or every 2 days, 3 days, whenever I got some time to do it, just put everything down that I learned. And Coach B really, he was so good at creating a culture, Ray, and really believing in what he was doing, and he had a conviction to it. And in 42 years he had graduated. There were 2 players that didn't graduate in 42 years of coaching. So it was for him, and for me, it was like I was looking at Coach B and saying, like, okay, this is the person I really like. Every kid, it was important that they graduated, and how you recruited, and you recruited to core values, and you just had this system in place. And that was really where those 2 years I started to formulate everything even more, Ray, about how I wanted to do things, because I looked at Coach B and said, you can be at a great academic institution and you can have great athletic success, and they don't ever have to be mutually exclusive. And that's kind of leading into, again, with UIC, with this experience just has me so excited about, because those same things exist here at UIC, that you can look at a kid in Madrid or recruit a kid in Greece or Australia and say, hey, Chicago, and then say UIC. And then there's this, okay, it's easily recognized. And then you start talking about the academic prowess of our university here at UIC. And it opens up, eyes, and it opens up doors for student athletes. And then you talk about the ability to be successful in the athletic arena. And so everything was there. So and is here. And it was the same way that Coach Beeline looked at things. And then he always talked about Ray setting the tone at the top. And for him, his big thing was just integrity, and everything that we do from that standpoint is always, with integrity. And we'd always talk about how integrity builds trust. So Coach B had the trust of his players and the staff, and it was just this connection, Ray, in the program, because you knew exactly what everything was all about, how we were going to recruit, what the school was all about, what the university was all about. And there was just this collective pride. And that's the same pride that you feel at UIC with, you've got 80% of the alumni, 280,000 alumni that are living within the Chicagoland area. So that there's this pride and this excitement that, we want to build upon and just keep fostering, and get more and more people excited about the Flames as a university and as an athletic program, and what we have going on here, because it's special. And that experience with Coach B just kind of, it solidified a lot of things for me, Ray, about it's like, okay, you can be you can really value teaching and like fundamentals, and have a program where you can really just kind of really settle into who you are, and recruit to who you are, and build the program kind of very similar that way that I had really tried to build our high school programs at Sterling, at Joliet, and at LaSalle Peru. And there's this family atmosphere. And I felt that with UIC. And then when I went to Texas, Ray, it was an unbelievable year. Shaka Smart he is a really, really good coach, and he's so good at building relationships with players, Ray. So he had really big on culture. And the thing with Coach Smart was really good at and the reason why his coaching tree again is so big as well is because he gives his assistants a lot of say. And again, it's from a leadership standpoint, whether you're running a company or a basketball program, just valuing what the strengths of each person in your program, and then allowing them to have a voice on the court, or in the office, in the conference room, wherever it is that you're leading people. Coach Smart was always wanting to learn, wanting to grow, and then wanting to share, and then allowing people to be themselves within the program, all within the greater scheme of the culture. So there's a lot more, Ray, to my time and what I've learned from Coach Muller, then Coach B, and then Coach Smart. But I think those are kind of the overarching things that will always resonate with me, that will help me, again, carry over and build our program here at UIC, and really accentuate all the great things that UIC has to offer student athletes, and then students at large with the unbelievable academic programs that we have in the 16 colleges.
Being involved in the program that I've been in for so long, and knowing the staff and other fellow alumni, we've always said that Chicago is there for the taking, that the city of Chicago likes to back winners. We've had winners in professional sports with the Bulls and the Blackhawks and the Cubs and the White Sox. Loyola has shown some fan appeal when they had their run. DePaul also. A lot of us feel that it's Chicago's, the UIC's turn to do that. So, talk a little bit about, how you can get the alumni to back UIC and come back and support this program, and bring it to where it should be.
For sure, Ray. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. So that was one of the things in the interview process, Ray, we talked about with Michael Lippitz, and then Chancellor Amaritas. It was the idea that, like, here's the vision, Ray, that, like, okay, we're in Dayton, right? So all the alumni, okay, we're in Dayton because UIC men's basketball team, we've qualified for the NCAA tournament, opening round in Dayton, opening round in Des Moines, but we've got the lobby of the hotel is filled. We got the band, Sparky's going crazy, and we're getting ready to get on this on the bus over to the game. I mean, that's the vision, and that's the excitement level that we want to have as the vision for the program, and then get everybody behind our program. So, getting Credit Union One Arena excited each and every night by playing great competition. And then it's all happening within the city of Chicago, Ray. So that part is so recognizable, again, throughout the country, but then throughout the world, to be able to recruit to the city of Chicago and all of that it has to offer. Then within that, you have this university, 30,000 plus students with students from 60 countries, over 60 countries coming to UIC. So it's everything. We've got all that you need to be successful here, and you've got a great administration that has incredible support and a clear vision for wanting to win, and then putting the coaches in a position to be successful and giving them the resources that they need to. So when you take a look at it from, when looking at the job in itself from the onset, and then after going through the interview process, it just became clear, like, this is a place that we can graduate student athletes from each and every year, and a degree that matters. It's going to go out and absolutely, they're going to be able to be successful for the next 40 years of their lives, their work life, beyond the professional basketball experience. But then from an athletic experience, you've got the city of Chicago to draw on, and then you've got the university, and we, our staff, we feel that we have everything that you need here in order to be successful, and a great league that has competitive basketball and that people love basketball. It's in the Midwest. And then the state of Illinois in and of itself has from junior college coaches to the other colleges and universities in Illinois, and obviously the high schools and then the AAU programs, all of these things, like Illinois basketball is special. It is special. And when you travel throughout the United States and you do some recruiting, there are lots of really good places that have basketball. Illinois, Indiana, these places are just, they're different and they're special. And, for me coming home and being a part of that again, and it's easy, and it's an easy sell to recruit to, because you have everything that you need here, a family atmosphere, then a fan base and an alumni base around the city of Chicago that can embrace winning. And as from UIC's perspective, why not us? We're next. And I'm excited to do that. And that's what we've been talking to our players about. And some of our new signees and our recruits are coming from Illinois, and they're excited about that. And then there's this, again, passion that they have for wanting to be close to home and wanting to win at UIC and creating something special with our university and our athletic program. So I hope you can feel that passion coming through, Ray. I believe in what we're doing and this university and the vision that we have. I'm so excited. And let's have all those alumni come back, Credit Union One, and let's get that place rocking with Flames fans.
We'd love to have that happen.
Yes.
Get those seats filled. We talked a little bit going through your ascent up to now being a head coach. You started to develop your own staff. You've got Brock Erickson, you got Will Beasley, who we know very well. You brought back Dee Brown. Talk a little bit about how you've created your staff and what you're doing with that.
Well, I think our staff, Ray, you want to be, one of the things kind of going back to time with Shaka and then time with Coach Beeline was being really, really intentional about how you put together your staff and how you obviously put together your roster. And, for us and for what we're going to do, Ray, our core values are very, very, very tight with what we want to do. So we have unity, passion, appreciation, accountability, integrity, and diligence. Those are the 6 things that we're looking for with our student athletes. It's what we're looking for, what I set out to look for in when putting together our staff. And, when from a leadership standpoint, I think the key thing is if you always have your values that you can fall back on, and not even fall back on, you fall back on them, but you also use those as your bedrock, your foundation for everything that you do. And every decision kind of goes back to those. So I couldn't be more excited with Brock, Dee, and Will. I mean, we've got a great staff that has a lot of diversity in thought and experience, but they all have a family background. Okay. They value family. And then they've been a part of winning programs and experienced winning at different levels and have had different recruiting experiences. So, those 3 are so excited. And the great thing is, and it's kind of weird how it's happened, Ray, is that through the Zoom meetings and not being able to be together, in a lot of ways we've grown even closer, and our staff and players throughout this. If you had told me kind of 50 days ago that, man, this is kind of what it'll look like after those 50 days, I would have said, yeah, I'll take that. That sounds like a good plan. How are we going to get there? I don't know, but we have. And I really feel like our players are coming together and our staff's coming together, and we've been able to share a lot of experiences just like this, just talking about the program, about our core values, and really explaining in detail things on a quote unquote face-to-face level with our players and staff. And it's been exciting, really, really exciting. I'm thrilled with the direction that we're going right now and how excited our players are about what we're doing.
It's great to see that you've been able to recruit during all of this. As you mentioned, Zoom meetings and things like that. I was following the NCAA transfer portal and just
Yeah.
looking at all of the kids who are moving schools and how they're doing that. It has to be kind of difficult as you go and try to recruit to try to get that player who's going to stay. What's your philosophy on trying to do that, to get a kid who wants to be there for 4 years?
Well, I think the main thing, there's a lot of main things, I guess, Ray. But what I would say first is that in the vetting process with recruiting, I think it's so important when there's a lot of student athletes out there that want to play college basketball. So from a numbers perspective, it's our job as a coaching staff to make sure that you absolutely have this clear direction about what it is you're looking for and what it is you need. So you have a style of play on offense, Ray, you have a style of play on defense, and then you have your culture. And then within that, there's the family atmosphere and toughness. So those 5 things are kind of what we always are trying to speak with our student athletes that we're recruiting about. And then the big picture is then, okay, what's the university about? And UIC, it sells itself when you start getting down to all of the opportunities that it has for students. So those 6 things really you put into one thing, and then ultimately this was Coach Beeline's big thing. When we recruit, we want players that want to run through the door to come to Michigan. And as the head coach at UIC and our staff, we want to have student athletes that want to run through the doors to come to UIC. How you get them to do that? Well, obviously that's the recruiting process, and it goes back to, okay, here's what we need. Here's our style of play on defense and offense, and here's our culture. Do you want to be a part of that? And Ray, I give the background to this because I think it's so important that once you do that vetting process with each student athlete, and they have this passion and then a clear understanding about what UIC has to offer them as a student, an athlete, as a player, and then a young man, and how they can grow in those 4 areas, then when they say, yes, coach, that's part of the running through the door. And once you have student athletes that really want to be there and value every part of what the program, that what you're offering and what you can provide for them, and then how they can help us, then it solidifies that kind of taken root, so to speak, at the university. And then when we're there, I think the key thing, and I mentioned this with Shaka and Coach Muller and Coach B were unbelievable with this as well, is that you have to have a staff that is connected, and you, in what I refer to always as surround sound. And Coach Smart had mentioned that in a meeting one time. We're talking about surround sound. So everybody's hearing the same message, from our GAs to our assistant coaches, to our academic coordinator. Like, there's just, all our players are hearing the same thing, and there's this family atmosphere that you have within the program. And to have the family atmosphere, and you're building everything on trust. In order to have trust, you have to have a relationship. So in order to really have the program take roots, and you have student athletes first that want to run through the doors to be there because they're valued, they're wanted, they're needed. Then when they get here, they're valued, they're wanted and needed, and they feel that way. And you want to create a program, right, in all honesty, where kids look at it and say, I could not have a staff take any better care of me than what the staff at UIC is providing me each and every day, from again, the student, the athlete, the player, and then the young man perspective. And that's something that goes back to my days as a high school teacher and coach, and it's never left me. So it's really, really important. If you want, have retention, and you want guys to really buy in and stay in the program, that you got to have something, you got to create something that they want to buy into first, Ray. And that's the vision of the program. And then on top of that, when they get here, that vision that you had talked about in recruiting, it's got to be the same vision that they see on a daily basis. And then the whole relationship part. And then obviously with our support staff, that's given them everything that they need on a daily basis to be successful and ultimately become the best version of themselves. So that's what what I really feel and want to create at UIC, and what our staff believes in and understands is important as well.
Great. You've been able to do some recruiting. You've got 5 young men who you've signed that are going to come to UIC.
Yeah,
It's great to see some Chicago kids come back.
no doubt, no
You
doubt.
always hear the alumni go, well, why aren't they recruiting Chicago? Why can't we get these good Chicago kids to come here? It's great to see that. Can you give maybe a thumbnail on some of the young guys that you've got coming in?
Yeah, for sure, Ray. I'm glad you asked, and we're really excited about our whole team, Ray. The one thing I told first conversation with the seniors is that there's this adage sometimes when you come into a program that there's this like, well, okay, I gotta wait to get my guys in there, and you hear this like, there's 4 seniors, Jamie and Jacob and Rob and Michael. They want to win. And they want to have a great senior year. And I want them to have a great senior year because I had a coaching change as a high school student athlete, and before my senior year, and it was like, who's going to come in and how's it going to look? And so I understand and that importance. So there was always this message again to our players that we're going to create a culture. I want seniors to lead and develop a great relationship with them. And those 4 guys have been awesome so far. And then Braylon and Brian and Dion have jumped on board, and they've been incredible. And we built great relationships with those 3 guys. And then you knew from last year that a lot of the guard play had graduated. And again, to our academic, at least in our academic team are awesome. All 4 of them graduated. We had 3 guys on the dean's list this spring semester, Ray. So it's terrific, the work that everybody in our program is doing. And then we had to go out, and you have those 7, and then obviously we had to replace the guards, really good guards last year, and really good people. Really good people that we have on our team, and they've been fun to get to know as well as their families. And then we started recruiting process. Tavion Kirk from Joliet, he had spent some time at Ohio, then went to Colorado State, and it's kind of a 6'4" combo guard. And everybody in our league, we want to make sure that we have competitive. You want to have a competitive practices, and then you want to be able to obviously carry that over to be competitive in the Horizon League and in our non-conference schedule. And we want to, again, those guys that want to run through the door. And Tavion was really excited. I had known him a little bit as an 8th grader coming into Joliet, and then ironically, that's when I had left for Illinois State. And then he had a great career at Illinois State, and then a great career at Joliet West as I went to Illinois State. And then it kind of it's funny how things happen. And Tavion was, entered the transfer portal, and we talked and made sure that, again, like all of our guys, that you understand exactly what we're about and what it is we're trying to build here. And, we're excited to have him aboard again, a local Chicago suburb kid, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of fans from Joliet that are going to be making the trek up to Credit Union One Arena. So that's exciting. And then we kind of really close together had like Raquandis Mitchell, young man from Minnesota. He's 6'5" guard that was at Idaho and then transferred to Otero Community College, and he's been working really hard on finishing up his degree. And again, he brings, we want multi-skilled, multifaceted players, Ray, that want to develop into elite 2-way players. And we're going to have a program that we're going to play really fast, and we want to get up and down the floor, and want to, again, be fundamentally fast. I'm going to say that a lot in future interviews, and that's something that we'll be working on, once we get back in the gym. But Ray, again, is ability to play multiple positions. He's a tough kid that is really looking forward to getting to campus. I think these guys they're itching, Ray, all the time. I'm texting like, Coach, when can we get in? When can we get in? When are they going to let us come back? How are we going to do it? And it's exciting. There's a genuine passion and enthusiasm for all of our guys. But Ray's going to be a really good player. And again, all of the theme that you have, Ray, with a lot of our signees is that that we wanted to look at, when you take a look at the roster, they had a lot of experience at the guard position last year. So we tried to get some recruit student athletes that had some Division I experience. So if you take a look at Tavion, he had a year of practice at Colorado State, 2 years of time at Ohio. And then Ray had a year at Idaho, and then played a prominent role on a really good junior college team. And then Zion Griffin from Chicago as well, went to Hinsdale, and I competed against him, and we shook hands in the line in February when he was when we played up at Iowa State. And Zion, I recruited a little bit, Ray, when I was at Illinois State, and I was just leaving to go to Michigan, and that recruitment started. Then he had a great July, and then ended up going to Iowa State. But he decided to transfer. Then we reached out to him and developed. Staff did a really good job, as recruiting Zion and his family. And that's the thing about all of our guys. They have really good families, and they value education, and they value athletics, and that's the neat thing about the recruiting process. And Zion, he's going to sit out likely this year and really develop as a player on a lot of the things that he wants to develop at. And Coach Derman, our strength and conditioning coach, be doing a lot with him. But Zion is going to be a really good player, like all of our guys, and has a great upside and a lot of potential. And again, has this work ethic and drive to want to be good. And that was really important in the recruiting process. When you get down to know, do these guys really do you want to dig in and really build something special and coming back to your home state? And they do. And we're excited about having Zion in. So Zion and Ray, basically, they called me. I told those guys, Ray, that I'd take a jump in the pool when I was at Texas if they committed. And so I literally, Ray called, and he said, "Coach, get ready." And so I jumped in the pool, and I didn't even know it. Zion called 7 minutes later, and he says, "Coach, I'm coming." So we had recruited these guys for a long time, and during that time period, and I jumped in the pool twice. So I just got into new clothes, and Zion called. So it was a fun day to be a Flame that day. We were bringing the heat, and it's exciting. And then our fourth signee, Ray, was Maurice Commander, who was at Marist High School, and then went to Chicago Curie, and then went with Coach Paris down at UT Chattanooga. And again, started just every game there, and it was a key part of their winning and their culture. Tough guard that wants to be really good, and has this just workman-like approach to him, and a seriousness. When you talk to Maurice, he's kind of all business, and you got to work hard to get him to crack a smile a little bit every now and then. But he's really again has an opportunity to compete this year, working on a waiver process for Maurice, and then have a chance over these 2 years to be in a position where he and Tavion and Maurice and then Ray, all of those guys are again man in the backcourt. And the way we want to play, we want to put positional, multi-skilled guys on the floor that can all dribble, pass, and shoot. And I know that sounds very basic, but we're going to be a skill development program. It's something that when Michael Lippitz asked me, like, what do you want our program to be known for after 5 years? We want graduate student athletes. We want to be known for skill development, and then we want to be known for playing hard, playing smart, playing together each night. And those are the things that these guys bring to the table. And with Maurice, he's got just that experience of playing a couple of years at Chattanooga and experiencing winning. And then we, like all of these guys, we expect them to bring their experience to the table in the form of leadership, and then just on a possession by possession basis, understanding how it goes, because they've had experience in Division I programs. And then finally, we had Jalen Johnson, who just completed his paperwork a couple days ago. Again, another combo guard out of Logan Community College, spent some time at Murray State, 1 year at Murray State, then ended up at Logan, and we've recruited him for about the last month or so, and he committed to us, and really excited about Jalen. Again, another skilled guard that can play both ends of the floor, lefty, shot about 40% from three for Logan, and they had a really competitive team with a bunch of really good players. So again, he also brings this, again, winning mindset, tough mindset, and skilled mindset. And then at the same, just multifaceted games. And that's something that Jalen, Zion, Maurice, Tavion, and Ray all have in common, is that they all can do multiple things. They can all play together, and they all have this drive and this hunger to be really, really good on both ends of the court. And they value what the UIC degree is going to mean for them. So it couldn't be happier. We've got 12 student athletes that are all bonding together right now in their own ways. Our seniors are kind of taking the lead on that in their own way, and we're trying to help them grow their leadership skills. And then we have one scholarship left, Ray, and kind of we're recruiting each and every day, and doing our best to bring to have the next flame running through the doors to put on the uniform.
Can't wait to see how you mesh all of this together.
Yeah, exciting.
Let me give you one more quick question, and then we'll open it up to make sure that everybody gets your questions in the chat room and give you an opportunity. Talk a little bit about this upcoming season and what the schedule looks like, and where we're headed.
Yeah, and Ray, I just want to go. I think Maurice's dad is on the Zoom call, so just want to give a shout out to Maurice and Commander Senior. Okay, hello, Maurice. So schedule-wise, we've got we're still working together, working with our Director of Operations, Kyle Drennan, doing a great job putting together our schedule. And basically, right now we've got we'll be playing some home and home. We're looking to start some home and home series, Ray. We've got we'll be opening up next year with Northern Illinois, and then we've got some games with Valpo. We'll be playing Loyola this year. We're working on a date that works with DePaul, and then we've got Western Michigan, and then we'll be working on just completing our schedule based upon some dates and availability. And we've got some other things in the mix as far as what our MTE experience is going to look like, our tournament format. So looking forward to kind of rolling those things out when they become more solidified down the road. But the schedule is going to be a competitive non-conference schedule. That's something that Michael Lippitz and I talked about in the interview process, about making sure that we created a competitive non-conference schedule that Chicago basketball fans and UIC fans, and then the casual basketball fan wants to come out and see UIC play, because playing hard, we're playing smart. They play fast, they're really good defensively, and now they're also got some good teams coming into Credit Union One Arena, and we want to come out and do everything that we can to create a great atmosphere there at Credit Union One Arena.
We can't wait. It's going to.
I can't either. Ray. I can't either. I doing all this recruiting and everything from an office in Austin, and then from a kitchen table in LaSalle, Peru. It's not how you envision everything, but it's just like we ask our players, right? You respond, whatever happens, whatever in the game, whether positive or negative, you got to respond. So that's what we've done as a staff, and as the head coach and leader of the program, I've got to set that example. So for our players and staff, that's just what we're going to do. We're going to respond and make the most out of this, and really excited about everything that we have going on in this short period of time so far.
Can't wait to see you bring the heat.
Hey.
Well, why don't you get
Hey, let's go.
Why don't you get yourself a drink of water, because you've been talking quite a bit. Caryn, I'm sure that you've got some questions from the chat room. So why don't you take over here for a second and run us out?
Great. Well, thank you, Ray, and thank you, Coach Ack. And you had asked if we could feel the energy and the excitement and the enthusiasm that you have, and the answer is absolutely yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to, because I just saw the additional enthusiasm, go on the Bring the Heat mantra that I know that you used before. And so the question is, now with the Flames, what does the phrase mean to you, and how do you expect UIC basketball to bring the heat as a program?
Well, that's every day. I tell our players, Caryn, in the recruiting process that we talk about bringing the heat. What does that mean? We're going to press and trap and go up? And no, that's not what we're talking about all the time. It's about bringing the energy every single day, Caryn, that it takes to build a championship program. So that's the passion, the energy that you need every time you walk in the gym. Like, as Coach B used to say this all the time, or there's three guys that you can't have can't have a bad day: the head coach, the best player, and the point guard. Can't have a bad day. So it's just mindset all the time. When I walked into a U.S. history classroom, Caryn, when you're teaching and learning, like it's a vocation that you got to take really seriously. So I just want to be prepared and bring it every single day, and then recruit players that want to bring it and have that passion every day, and then have a staff that has that passion and enthusiasm each and every day. And then everybody kind of feeds off each other, Caryn, and creating this program that, again, if you want to play hard, you want to play smart, you want to play together, that's this Bring the Heat mantra, which started back in high school, Caryn. I don't even know when the first time I said it, but then I used it at Illinois State, and then the guys there kind of they started saying it, and then Michigan at Tech, it just stuck. So then lo and behold, here we are with the Flames logo, and it just fit perfectly. So it's just meant to be, Caryn, meant to be.
So not that we're biased, but it applies the best here. So
I love it.
We do too. So another question from alumnus Sean McGovern. His question is how are you going to get students to attend games and other fans to attend the games? That's
great. Great question. Thanks, Sean, for being here today. Really appreciate it. So I think there has to be a level of like a relationship built from a community service standpoint, Sean, that we want to be out in the community, obviously recruiting the state of Illinois and having local fans be able to connect with some student athletes from our state and from our area, the city of Chicago, the suburbs, et cetera. That's one area. But then on a campus basis, I think it's so important, and this is going back to the high school coach in me, is you had those student sections, and then you had the kids on Friday night that wanted to load up in the game in a car or in a fan bus and go to the game, whether you were we're on the road somewhere. And that experience, and having that the cheerleaders and then the band and the student section was all together. So we really want to work hard to create that atmosphere at UIC. And the only way that you do that is by being intentional about the relationships, Sean, on the campus. So our guys and our staff's going to be out at other sporting events and creating a relationship with all of the student athletes and the coaches on our campus. And then I want our players all the time, Sean, to understand that there's more than the four walls of the locker room. Like, you're part of a bigger community here at UIC. There's 33,000 students. Interact with and have a great relationship with the kid in your business. From maybe he's going to be the next social media rock star and create this new startup company. Like, that's the power of UIC. And what it can do for them. So I want to make sure our guys are connecting with the campus at large. And then we'll be going out in the community and doing a lot of community service. Coach Brown and Coach Beasley are kind of heading up our community service projects. And then when we can get out, we're going to do that. And then obviously working with our marketing and social media as much as possible. And then ultimately, Sean, it comes down to putting a really good quality product on the floor of young men that are going to go out there and compete each and every night, are talented, and put ourselves in position to win championships, and to just keep building that momentum over and over again over 1 and a 2 and a 3 year span. Just keep building on that.
Thank you. It's fun to watch the chat a little bit because we have alumni that have been very loyal Flames fan supporters for many years that are kind of going back about games. So we'll have to download that for you to read later, just to hear read their comments.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So next question is from Robert Frey. What is your take on analytics to improve the development of your players and to improve in-game decision-making?
Yeah, well, it's kind of analytics wise from a philosophical standpoint. We want to take away the three. I mean, that's been a philosophy of defensively of mine, and really kind of experience at Michigan. We were really, really good at it. Coach Beeline and I kind of really shared that same philosophy, and that's why we meshed so well right away together. But we want to eliminate the opponent three, and then we want to be really good at making them on our end. So, from an analytics standpoint, we use them. It's not going to gauge the possession by possession, because I think a lot of times with the analytics, there are times it can get inside players' heads, like left side of the floor, right side of the floor, off the dribble. Like sometimes you just got to get better and not worry about like the whole process of the analytics part. But we definitely are going to use them from a scouting standpoint of what the other team is doing, and then again, from a philosophical standpoint, we want to utilize the three-point line and space the floor, and again, create opportunities for our players to get open threes and then again, score at the rim. But I'm not opposed to like any coaches say, well, we're never going to take a 15-foot shot. There are some philosophies like that, not going that far, but we're going to use them. And I definitely use it to frame my defensive philosophy for sure. And then how that translates to how we want to play offense at the other end for sure.
So many things to think about.
Yes.
All of it. So I feel like we could keep talking and for many, many hours, but I want to be sensitive to everybody's time and really just welcome you again to the alumni family. Thank you, Ray, for such a wonderful conversation. Thank you, Coach Jack. I know this is just the beginning. It's an initial conversation as we continue to move forward, but I'm very grateful to both of you for your time in this great conversation today.
Well, thank you, Caryn. Ray, thank you. I just want to thank all the, everybody on the call today for taking an hour out of your time to kind of talk UIC, talk Flames basketball, and just the entire kind of scope of what we're trying to do as a program. If I can ever be of any help, and we'll love to do these again, Caryn, because I know I probably sometimes I get passionate about my answers and probably took too much time on some of the answers, which eliminated some of the questions. So I would be happy and really excited about hopping on one of these again to kind of just do a Q&A with everything that wasn't answered today. I will definitely do that, and we can do that in within the next couple of weeks if you'd like to, Caryn. I'd be happy to do that. So I'm really excited. Thanks to all the Flames fans, and let's have every Flame alumni attend at least one game next year. Okay, get them all. Let's go get Credit Union 1 rocking.
I'm with you, and I will take you up on that offer. So, so thank you again to both of you. Just to wrap us up, so next week, please join us on Wednesday, June 3rd for our next Alumni Exchange event at noon, featuring Steve Bobb, the director of the Entrepreneurial Support Program in UAC's College of Business, who will present an interactive discussion entitled Entrepreneurship and Small Business, Is This the Time for Me? You can find more information at go.uic.edu/alumni exchange. And of course, be on the lookout for our survey. Thank you again for joining us this afternoon. We look forward to seeing you again in the UIC Alumni Exchange, and of course, at all of our basketball games. And I have to end with, let's bring on the heat and let's go Flames. Thanks so much again to both of you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. It was great seeing the friendly faces out there. Hope to see you at Credit Union 1 Arena come this fall.
Yeah, thanks so much. Have a great rest of your afternoon, and go Flames.
Go Flames.
Go Flames.